Hi, so this is a video essay around the state of software engineering and AI and code and how that's all working out at the moment. So to take a step back, a lot's happened over the past 4 years. 2022 was ChatGPT 3 was the advent of that, and a lot of tooling and things have happened. And primarily in 2025, vibe coding occurred where people could build apps in 10 minutes with AI, and a whole floodgate of developer AI applications started to come out. Most notably Codex, Claude Code, and models like Opus 4.5. And now we're just in January, so beginning of the year, but now if you open your timelines, it might be around the age of TUIs, also known as terminal user interfaces with Claude Code. And the main question of how much code do we write? And these are some of the truths I believe has happened over the past year. So number one, writing code is no longer a defensible moat. That being said, is that the floodgates of vibe coding have allowed people who are non-technical to become slightly more technical and produce things that are written by code, which lowers the barrier of entry and requires higher quality of engineers, which leads to standing out is harder. We'll talk about the economy and parts of how that's affecting the industry, but standing out when everyone can make the same AI slop or AI website, the barrier of entry just goes higher and higher. So there has to be different ways to standing out in the space. Number three, objectively, I do believe we will be writing less code. It's already happening. We're already seeing that. I hope we don't get to a point where we don't write any code. I think it's maybe more like we just write less, much less. But yeah, tooling matters. So if you're still on GPT-2 or 3 to do your code, you're not really going to make it. You have to understand at least the foundational levels of okay, this is what the industry standard is looking at. And I know it can get tiring to keep up on the latest frameworks, but this is just an essential thing that you need to pick up on. And planning is king. So writing code has always been around planning and thinking in systems and architectures. So this is continuing to be a part of this process. And the more you can plan and think of how to talk to the LLMs, that will give you a key advantage. So going into the questions of this open-ended essay is, do we even write code? I believe less and less. But that being said, if you did start to write code before the advent of GPT-3, I think you have a slightly bigger advantage than people just starting to code with AI, as you have a foundational skill of what is good code, how to write good code, and that assists you to just do quick changes that are boring but can be done with AI. And going into prod, still being very, very careful, and really understanding what is happening, what are you changing. But if you're doing a quick test or a demo, very fine to just use AI for that. Junior confidence of standing out. So job market's much harder. You're not going to just get by doing interviews with, hey, this is my web application. You need to do a bit more than what was happening 5 to 10 years ago. Budgets are tighter, and this is a meme I saw of where do I go for gold for computer science 2026, and this I'll link below, but it's just being harder for junior software engineers to be able to get a gig. It's been if you're more in the mid to senior, you have a higher chance of staying in the market. And so budgets are tighter, juniors are probably having a bit of a confidence meltdown, and that just means you have to stand out in different ways, whether it's through social or building demos or connections and things like that. The game has always kind of been that, but it's becoming more and more evident. And if it means that you need to split a $200 coding per month budget with friends or seeking credit subsidies. Like that's the way to go to stay lean. Continuous learning. So there's just so much out there to learn, especially at the pace of AI and how things are moving. But what needs to happen is you need to have like a foundational understanding. Okay, this is somewhat the industry standard now. I should try and use it. Feel comfortable with it. And then if something gets mentioned 5 to 10 times, then give that a go and give that experience a go and see if that fits into your workflow. So for example, if as an engineer, maybe if you weren't using Cursor as an application, like over the past 3 years, you might be a bit behind, and things like that. And new skills outside of coding that's related to standing out is maybe social capital leverage, but also you're going to become a bit more of a generalist. So learning good design, learning some product management and coordination and more context switching. These are new skills that are going to come with this new age of software engineering. So this is a pretty good guy of development. This is like kind of his expectations of engineering, and just like kind of understanding like what's happening is very relevant. AI team expectation. So AI teams are probably like, wow, we got AI, we can ship faster. That doesn't necessarily mean good products will get shipped. So there has to be a better understanding and education of like what are the capabilities of our team. How can we empower the engineers to ship quality code instead of fast, sloppy code, which also then goes into code slop. This is a bit of a longer post, but basically it's saying the craft of software engineering is kind of dying. People are just pushing to ship products. Like people are just writing sloppy code, and the death of excellence. I think engineering used to pride upon like, wow, that's a great code, and that's kind of just changing a lot. And another thing is maybe the convergence of architecture. You might see lots of code that kind of looks similar, which is questionable. It's like everyone will use the same approach because the LLMs are telling it to do the same thing. And excellence is going to get harder to come by. So specialization in places where AI can't reach or will take a while to reach might be a good option. And coming back to planning is king. Just keep working in a conscious effort to be careful of your commits, working in piecemeal, and don't just write me this application in 10 minutes and don't just shift tab everything. So yeah, this is my understanding of the industry and how AI and code is working at the moment. Yeah, let me know your thoughts. Cheers.